Hi guys, Melissa here with TCT Crafts. Today we are going to try and attempt to make something with our air dry foam clay. And what it's going to be our little Christmas present picks. So I have a centerpiece that I want to make in the next couple days, and I want these to go in the centerpiece. That'll probably be an upcoming tutorial. So before we get to the centerpiece, I want to make these little fake bake presents to go in the centerpiece. So what I have done is I just had some foam that came in a box from something that I had, and I just cut them into little sections. Now I didn't want my present to be this thin. I want it to be a little chunky. So all I did was take and glue two together. So you can see if I put these two together here, we've got a little bit we need to trim off. So this one I've already glued. I'm going to set that one aside. I wanted to save one to do with you guys. Okay, so I just trimmed that piece off. And now I'm just going to take a sander. And we're just going to sand the edges down. Kind of give it a rounded corner. You can leave it sharp if you want, but I'm just going to round mine off a little bit. Okay. This will make a mess. Styrofoam is messy. Okay. I need to clean my table because we're going to get our clay in a minute, and we don't want all this in our clay. So bear with me 1 second while I clean this off. Hopefully this turns out cute. If not, you guys will probably never see this tutorial. Just keeping it real. But I wanted to record it. Hopefully it turns out good, and then you guys will have an idea of something maybe you can make similar to this with your kiddos for the holidays or your grandkids. Okay, so now I have our two pieces. Let's make sure, because they still seem like they're a little off. Just a hair. So we get to do all of this again. Sorry guys, but I just want to make sure they're they don't have to be exact because we're going to be covering this with our clay, but I want it to be pretty close. Okay, I'm going to get my sander again. Before I clean up, let's make sure this is going to work. Okay, I think that's good. So now we can clean up. Should have done that before. Okay, get all this styrofoam off, and then I'm going to wipe the table down just because we're going to be using our clay in just a second, and we want a nice clean surface for our clay so we don't get these little styrofoam balls all in the clay. So I'm just going to wipe this down real quick. Okay. While this is drying, we're going to take our two pieces, and I'm just going to add some super glue. All around the sides. I'm very generous with the glue. And I'm just using Gorilla Super Glue. Just gonna let those sit and dry together. I'll put it over there. We'll start with the one that I have already glued. It's a little bit drier than that one. So let's get started now. But that's how we're going to prep these. You can do any size you want. You could do them smaller. You can make big ones. You can make these. We're going to put them on a pick. We're going to use a stick and put them on a pick because, like I said, I want it to go in a centerpiece. But you could get a little ornament hook and make little ornaments out of these as well. So let's get our white clay. I'm going to get a nice big section of this out. And we're just going to massage the clay, get it nice and conditioned. You don't have to do this too long, and I am using our TCT Crafts brand air dry foam clay. I just love it. It's super soft and super easy to work with. Okay, now let's roll it out. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. I think I want it just a tad thicker. So let me get a little bit more. I want it not super thin, but we don't want it real thick either. So I'll show you when we kind of get it rolled out, the thickness. Do this side. I think that's pretty good. So you could kind of see it's thin, but not super thin. Okay, now we're going to take our present here. Before we do this, let's add a little bit of super glue so that it'll stick really good to the styrofoam. Okay, just gonna lay it on top using the palms of my hand. I'm just pushing that on there. I'm going to shape it and then we'll cut some of this excess clay off. Let me get one tool out that I forgot to grab. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this down, get it out of our way. Just drop something on there. I don't know what that was. I may have to redo this if I can't get it off. And if the clay has a little bit of imperfections, that's okay, because we're going to be adding glitter to this and we're going to be adding some other things. So Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. If you didn't want to do this exact same as us, or what we're doing here, and you wanted a nice smooth surface, just take you a little bit of water on your fingers and you can kind of smooth it out. Cut a little bit more of this off. A little bit more on this side. And I'm going to put my clay back in my bag. I want to make sure that your clay is staying. Now I'm going to lift this up. And before I seal the sides, I want to put a little bit of glue in there. Okay. Now we're just going to take and kind of roll the sides over. Don't worry about the back. We're going to cover it up later. Just going to kind of smooth this clay down on here on the sides, make it a little bit flatter because we're going to cover the back up. And you could either cover the back up with clay, which I think is what I'm going to do, or you can use foam sheet, which is a little bit cheaper option. Saves you a little bit on the clay. So either way is perfectly fine. Let me just smooth this out a little bit. Okay, there's our first one. I'm going to set this on my parchment paper. Let's do the next one. So again, I'm going to get a nice size amount of our white clay. Now I'm using white. You can use any color that you want. I'm going to stick with traditional colors, traditional Christmas colors, because the centerpiece that I'm doing, the elements that I have with it are the red and the green, the traditional color. But these would be super cute to do also in like your Candyland theme, like your pinks and mints. I might actually do a few for my own tree in those colors. I think if I do, I'll make my presents bigger, just so they really stand out in the tree. So I'll just get a bigger piece of styrofoam and do the exact same thing. Okay, let's roll this out. I'm going to cut this little piece off because I know that we don't need that piece. Okay, clay. And again, we're going to take and apply some super glue all the way around. Just using the sides of my hands to form it. And then now we can cut a lot of this excess off. Don't get it too close because we do want to fold it over on the back. So we want to have enough to stretch over the back, but we don't need all of that. So again, just use the sides of your hands, kind of form around it. Push on that glue with the palm of my hand. That helps keep the clay pretty. Okay. Clay's getting a little stuck to the table. This table's usually pretty good. It doesn't stick, but for whatever reason, it's sticking today. And I just left a big thumbprint, so we'll have to fix that in a second. Okay. I'm going to put this in the sides. And just start folding this over. No, I don't need all of this. We've got a little gap right here. So let's just kind of tuck that in there where our blocks were not exactly even. Again, this is the back. We're going to make it pretty later, so I'm not worried about it. Just kind of use my fingers to get smooth. Trying to be careful because I put that super glue and I don't want to get it all over my fingers. This stuff is so hard to get off. So we got a tiny little spot. I'm going to add just a little dab of our clay right there just to cover up a little hole we had. Okay, let's move on to the next part. So now I'm going to put our white clay up. We are done with it for right now. Matter of fact, I think we're probably done. I don't think I'm going to add any more white to it. And of course I got that super glue on my thumb, so that's lovely. Get some of this up off the table before we break out the red. Now I'm going to use some of our red clay. Again, I'm going to condition it really well. And now I'm going to roll it using the palm of my hands into like a little snake, a little worm, whatever you want to call it. Cutting off the ends there. Okay, now I'm going to take this. We're going to use our rolling pin just going to gently roll it. Gently roll it. Okay. Now I'm going to take and we're just going to trim this down, and we're going to try to, I'm going to attempt at make a straight line. Just going to take my tool. Trim this side so that we have a nice clean edge. I roll it out just a little bit. I can see that this bottom section is just a little more narrow than that top section. I'm gonna cut a little bit of this off because I don't think we need it that long. And let's take this one that we did first. Now this clay is still fresh, meaning it's still damp. So if you had let it dry, I would use your super glue. But since this is still wet, the clay should stick to each other. So on this present, I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to cut a little bit of that off because we don't need all of that. I'm just going to tuck that around the back. Just gently press it down onto that clay. Let's see if this piece is long enough to go around. Ooh, I think it will be. Is it looking like a present yet, guys? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is let's put a little bow on it. I'm trying to decide if I want to do red or if I want to mix it up and do green. Let's see. So I'm going to take a little bit of our green clay, and I have this silicone bow mold. I think I got it from Amazon. I will look, and if I did, I'll link it for you guys. But I'm pretty sure I get most of my molds from Amazon. I've gotten a few from Etsy. So I'm just going to condition this green. And then we're just going to place it in our mold. I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to take some of this excess off. I still have that super glue on my thumbs. This clay is wanting to stick to it. Stick it to my fingers. It's annoying. I'm just pulling off this excess, and then if you use your clay and just kind of come in, you can usually pull up the excess that you don't want around it. Okay. Now this can be the tricky part sometimes, is getting them out of the mold without messing up. So if you have time, we're not going to do it because obviously we're recording this video, but you can put these in the freezer for about 5-10 minutes and they usually pop out really nicely. But since we're not doing that right now, I'm just very gently pulling it. And trying to pop it out. Okay, so now we have our little bow. We can fix it a little bit if we need to. I'll just take my scissors and I just kind of trim off some of the little pieces, the little danglers. And if you let this dry for a few seconds, sometimes it's easier to cut. Yeah, let's do the green. And then we might put like a little, yeah, let's do that. So I just took a little, let me show you how I made that, because I already had some made up so you guys wouldn't have to sit and watch me do this. Just take a little piece of your clay, roll it into a little ball. And then use your thumb, which this thumb has the glue on it, so I'm not going to use that one. Just use your thumb and kind of press down. And now you got yourself a little round fake sprinkle. Okay. Again, our clay is still fresh, so we shouldn't need to use the super glue, but just to be safe, I'm going to add just a tiny bit, just so we don't have this falling off later. There's our bow. How cute. Now we're going to take and we're going to add some of these little sprinkles. I just showed you how to make the red one. I'm just going to use red and green. And we're just going to, I'm going to go ahead because some of these have been sitting out for just a little bit when I was prepping for this tutorial. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the super glue. We're just going to put some little sprinkles on here. Cute. It is turning out cute. Good. I'm so glad. I was a little nervous. I'm still a newbie when it comes to the fake bakes. I love doing them, but we're still learning. I've had some great teachers. If you guys have never checked out Crystal with Glitz and Glue, she is super talented. She's also one of my coaches, and she comes up with the most adorable items. Let's do a green one. And of course, I don't teach what I learned in that group. I don't think we've ever learned this, so hopefully I'm not sharing a secret. Okay, so we have our little sprinkles, super cute. Let's set this one aside. Let that super glue adhere, and let's work on our other one. Now this time, since we did a red ribbon on this one, I'm going to do a green ribbon with a red bow. So let's get our green clay. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the red. Just condition it. Let's roll it into our little snake. Just slowly use the palm of your hands to get it to the length that you want it. Okay, now let's roll it out. Gently rolling it out. I can already see this side down here is wider than the top, so I'm going to start just trimming a little bit. You can see I'm cutting off more at the bottom because it was wider down there. Clean up this little piece. Okay. Let's do the same thing on this side. I can tell this piece is a little thicker than the last ribbon we did. That's okay, because we can always roll it out a little bit more. And this is just a, this tool here is just a, like a frosting, like smoother. I think I probably got it off of Amazon or at Hobby Lobby, but it's in the, like the cake baking supplies. It's what you use to smooth the frosting on the cake. Okay, so now let's get our piece. Now we went this way on the last one. I want to do this way on this one. I just set that clay right on top of that one. So let's tuck it around the sides. Again, this clay is still nice and fresh, so I'm not worried about putting the super glue. A little bit of this off. All right, I'm going to put this green clay back in our bag. Still sticking to my thumb. So I hate getting the super glue on me. Okay, let's just tuck this around. There we go. Now let's do the same thing. I already made this one, but it was the same way I did the green one using the mold. So because it's been sitting for just a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit of our super glue on there. And then let's add a green little sprinkle to there to the center. Okay, now let's add some of these. I'm debating if I want to add any on the actual ribbon. I don't think so. I think let's just leave it plain. Okay, I need to make a couple more sprinkles. So again, I'm just going to take a little bit of our clay, roll it into a ball. Can't use this thumb because look, still stuck. Let's just make these first and then we'll glue them. Okay, that one's a little big, so I'm just going to take a hair of that off. Let's make one more green and then we'll make a couple red. Okay, let's get a little bit of my red here. I'm trying not to get this green that's stuck to my thumb in this red. Okay, that ball's a little big. That one's a little big. I don't like it. Okay, let's do one more. I think that should be enough. Okay. And we have a little part right here that the clay's not smooth. You can just kind of gently press it with your palm of your hands. Or you can get, like I said, get some water and smooth this out. I think by the time we add our glitter, it's gonna look just perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna finish adding these. Trying to see where I want this one. put the colors together, but they're already on there now, so it is what it is. Still cute, but this one I did a little bit better on the sprinkles, so this one we messed up a little bit, but it's okay as far as the placement of the sprinkles. Okay. So now we have our 2 presents. One's going this way, one's going this way. Before we put our stick on, let's cover our back. So I'm going to use clay. You could cut a foam sheet to the size of your package and cover it that way. But I'm just going to go ahead and use some of my clay. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. Hopefully this doesn't mess us up. Okay. So I'm just going to roll it out. Just put my thumb in that. My table's getting sticky. I'm gonna have to really clean it really good because it usually doesn't stick like this. I'm wondering if some of that glue got on there. Let's try this again. It's also getting warm in here, and the warmer your clay is, it's a little stickier. I turned off the air because, oh my gosh, look at that. I turned off the air because it was cold in Texas the last couple days, but now it's getting back up in the, I'm gonna start over. Bear with me, guys. But now it's getting warm again, so it's almost like I need to turn the air back on. It's like, oh, we're gonna get fall temperature, but only for like a day. I'm trying to stay away from this center section where it looks like we might have some glue on the table. Okay, let's see if this is big enough. So all I'm going to do is just, yep, perfect. I'm just going to set our package right on there. Press down. Again, this glue is still fresh. It's not dried. If it was dried, you would want to use your super glue. And then I'm just going to take my little tool and I'm going to cut it all the way around. And I'm using it to kind of get up underneath the package just a little bit. Yeah, I think we definitely got some glue or something right there. And now I'm just going to clean it up a little bit with my fingers. But now we have our back Done. Okay, let's do the same thing with the other one. And I got a little bit of green in this white here, so let me just pluck it out. Try to get this up. A little bit more white. Okay, let's roll it back out. Okay, take our present, gently push on that clay. And again, I'm going to use my little tool and kind of go up underneath. And cut this additional Now, the tricky part is it's wanting to stick to the table. There we go. So let me kind of clean this up a little bit with my fingers. Again, you can use a foam sheet and it would be nice and probably prettier than the clay. But since this is going in a centerpiece, you're really not going to see the back. So I'm not too worried about it. Kind of squished our bow. Don't do that. Careful if you flip it over because you're going to squish your bow. Try to use my fingers and fluff it back up a little bit. Okay. Now you could stop here, let it dry, and then add your Mod Podge. But I want to add glitter. And of course, we're on a tutorial, so I want to show you. So I'm not going to let mine dry. I'm just going to go ahead. But before we do that, let's add our little sticks. Like I said, if you wanted to take and put you a little ornament hook in there and then run some nice pretty ribbon or string, you could do little ornaments. But I am going to use them as picks. So I'm just going to slide this up on there and just add a little bit of glue. And these were just little small dowels, and I just painted them gold. That's all those are. Be careful. Look, let me show you. Lesson learned. Be careful with the glue because it will drip and then it gets all over your clay. So I may have to take after this dries and just add a little bit of clay there just to cover that up. I don't think it's, let me try. I don't think it will come off. Yeah, we'll clean that up. So just add a tiny bit. I added too much, and then when I rolled it, it just fell out the sides. So just be careful with that part. Okay, now this one I'm just going to do the same. I'm just going to let's add dab of glue. Hopefully I don't add too much this time. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and move on. Again, I would, if I wasn't on video, I'd probably let that dry a little bit and then do this next part. But we're just going to move right along so you guys can see. I'm going to take some matte, just some matte Mod Podge. You can use clear tacky glue too, if you didn't want to use the Mod Podge, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the Mod Podge. And I'm just going to paint this all over our clay because I want to add glitter. Now, you don't have to add glitter. You could just do the Mod Podge, just kind of seal it and leave it without the glitter, and that would be really cute too. But I want to add some glitter to my designs, so. And something I didn't do, which I'm gonna tell you guys because I didn't think about it until, is I usually like to do my white, paint my white clay first, just in case some of the red coloring or the green coloring got on my brush. That way you're not smearing it onto your white. But I got in a hurry and didn't think about it. So we're just gonna go right ahead. So I'm gonna add these. Make sure I get all of them. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the white. Oh, I forgot this red right here. Let's go ahead and get that. I like to just use the Dollar Tree paintbrushes, so after a few times you can just chunk them. You just gotta be careful because the little fibers sometimes will come off and then they get in your designs. So that's what I just pulled off of there, was a little bit of that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the white. I'm not gonna worry about the back. I'm just gonna do the top and the sides. I'll just do one on camera and then we'll do the other one. I'll do the other one so this video doesn't get too long. And right there you can see where I touched that red and it kind of smeared a little bit on our present. But that's okay, we're gonna cover it up with glitter, but if you weren't wanting to glitter, you would now have that little red spot. So that's why I said it's usually better to do the white part first. Okay, I think I got it all. So I'm going to move this one out of the way for a second. I'm going to get my glitter. So I am just going to use the Crystal Diamond extra fine glitter. You can use whatever kind of glitter that you want. And I'm just going to sprinkle it all the way around. Not going to worry about the back, just the sides and the top. Now when this Mod Podge dries, it's going to dry clear and we're going to have our super cute little present. So after this dries, I'll take a picture. Let me add a little bit more glitter right here. I'll take a picture and post, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. Again, you can use it by itself. You could put a stick on it, make it a pick. You could do an ornament. You could, lots of little cute little things. So here's our little present. Bye guys.